Hello people of the internet, welcome to my YouTube channel ABJ Sayed. Today we are diving into the interesting world of ancient Indian science. You know, the one where they already discovered airplanes and IVF technology. Spoiler alert, they didn't. But let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Ancient India did give us many scientific rock stars like Aryabhatta, Virahamihira, etc. But there are many misconceptions and misinformation and myths that are floating around social media that I want to address in this video. So let's get started.
Today we are going to see one ancient Indian technology to find out whether water is there beneath the ground.
It's an ancient Indian technology.
So here, if you see, it will automatically turn towards the sky. It means there is a water resource available below this ground. So we are going to dig a borewell over here. Thank you.
This doesn't work. This doesn't work. This is not true. This is not how physics works.
Wait, did it actually work? No, let me show you. See, here I'm just balancing it at its center of mass and has nothing to do with the water inside the coconut or underground.
Just tactics which scammers can use to fool you, apparently, and has nothing to do with science. I mean, apart from center of mass, it has nothing to do with science or water underground or inside this. I also seen people do this with 2 iron rods or something, and pretty sure it's some kind of trick like this, and it doesn't work. It doesn't help in finding water. It's just a scam.
क्या तुम्हें पता था ड्यूरिंग महाभारत कुछ बहुत स्पेसिफिक ईटिंग हैबिट्स प्रिस्क्राइब थे एंड सरप्राइजिंगली मोस्ट ऑफ देम डू कोरिलेट विद टुडेज साइंस. This is day 24 of decoding ancient biohacking practices. Now the list of habits mentioned is quite big, but उनमें से एक habit ये थी कि one should eat in a calm and happy state, and one should not accept food given from people who are intoxicated, angry or sick. And the list of people you should not accept food from is quite big. Now if you think about this, to some degree it does correlate with the famous rice experiment.
So from this picture of this rice experiment, I assume that he's talking about rice experiment that was proposed by Masaru Emoto. So basically in this experiment, jars of cooked rice were taken, and people who performed the experiment spoke to the rice in positive words and with negative words, and the jars which were imposed with positive stuff, like positive words, were thriving, and those with negative words were decaying. I hope that's the experiment he's talking about.
That suggests that a person's environment and emotion can change the molecular structure of water and even food.
This is not a good experiment. In fact, I was even able to find a paper where the people who wrote the paper performed this experiment. The results they obtained were actually the opposite. Jars that were infused with positive words were more decayed than those with negative words. The person who proposed this experiment, this idea, Masaru Emoto, is considered a peddler of pseudoscience. And we can't change the molecular structure of anything, let alone food molecules, just by speaking with some words or just by emotions. Things doesn't work that way.
The Sanskrit texts of the Hindu and Buddhist tradition talk about incredible flying craft called Vimana. They're sort of a cross between a modern stealth fighter and a flying saucer. They describe several different types, including types that can travel from place to place, craft that can travel across the country.
Just look at this thing. This is what they are saying as Vimana. Hello, aerodynamics exists apparently, and I hope that things like these are not that aerodynamic to fly. This idea is coming from some ancient writings titled Vimana Shastra. I haven't seen many famous people peddle this idea, but this is complete BS. Apparently, there was also a paper written by studying Vimana Shastra. People who wrote the paper studied Vimana Shastra, the script from which this idea comes from. The conclusion of that paper was none of these planes have the properties or capabilities to fly. I mean, just look at it, just think logic, just look at this thing and just use a little bit of logic. This can't fly. Have you guys seen airplanes? And then look at this. Moving on.
IVF के बारे में सुना होगा, इन विट्रो फर्टिलाइजेशन। ये एक्चुअली में एक प्रोसेस होता है जिसके अंदर की जो बच्चा होता है वो एक ग्लास के टेस्ट ट्यूब के अंदर पैदा किया जाता है। पूरा
Technically, the child is not born inside a test tube. That'd be crazy, right? I'll just simplify it for you. We fertilize the eggs in the lab, then this is transferred to a test tube or a petri dish. Then it is cultured, and when it is time, they transfer this culture from the test tube or petri dish to a uterus so that it can develop there and baby can come out naturally or normally. That's what in vitro fertilization is.
पूरा एक प्रोसेस चलता है। अब ये एक्चुअल में तो 25 जुलाई 1978 के टाइम पे इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया था। अब इससे भी पहले कब इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ था तो उसके लिए मैं आपको और पीछे लेके जाता हूँ। ये बात है द्वापर युग की। द्वापर युग के टाइम पे जब महाभारत चल रही थी तो आपने गांधारी का नाम सुना होगा, जो कि कौरवों की माँ थी। उनके 100 पुत्र थे, ये बात भी हमने सुनी होगी। तो उन्होंने 7 पुत्रों को जन्म नहीं दिया था। उन्होंने एक फिटस इंट्रोड्यूस किया था और उस फिटस को लेके ऋषि वेद व्यास जी ने उनको 100 मटकों के अंदर रख दिया था, उनको घी के अंदर मिलाकर, और फिर ये प्रोसेस चला और फिर जाके 100 बच्चे पैदा हुए थे उस फिटस से। And I hope you love this information.
What he said is not even close to IVF. What he's saying? What is he saying? There is already a fetus. Fetus is something that we get after fertilization, after the attachment with the uterus. It is something that is developed in the uterus, and somehow this fetus is taken out and put inside pots of ghee. Ghee, I mean seriously, ghee. And that is a proof for IVF. We can't grow a living human being using ghee pots. We should be smart enough to understand that these are just allegories and they are not to be taken literally. These scriptures intend to teach us things like how to live, what is life, and all those good stuff. And interpreting them literally may not be a good idea, in my personal opinion.
Hey guys, here's a carving found in an ancient temple. A sperm approaching an ovum just prior to fertilization. But this sounds nonsensical because...
This sounds nonsensical, probably because it's nonsensical.
That the human fertilization process was only discovered in the 19th century. Here is another carving from another ancient temple. Again, this is clearly a sperm.
No. How can this be a sperm? This can't be sperm. For me, it looks like a snake moving into a hole or something. And I can even see 2 lines at the tip of its head that reminds me of a cobra. Maybe jumping into conclusions just by looking at an image and comparing it with another image is not a good idea. I'm pretty sure that this is not how historians do research.
Fertilizing an ovum. This is how it originally looked in the last 5.
See, it looks like a snake. It looks like a
fertilizing
snake.
an ovum.
It's a
This
snake.
is how it originally looked in the last 5 years, and the temple has decided to paint it recently. I like the older look.
Yeah, because when it's painted, he's not able to interpret it as a sperm because it looks more like an actual snake.
And one detail of this is that you can see that the sperm is smaller and the ovum is larger.
What is he even saying? I'm actually feeling sorry for this guy. Man.
During menstruation, Apana Vayu's direction should always be downwards and it is continuously.
So from what I understood, a Vayu is some kind of air inside our body that moves downwards and out. Yeah.
Active for 3 or 5 days for the duration of menstruation. See, other times, if you are urinating or defecating or releasing the semen.
Did you just say semen? Semen is something that is released or ejaculated by male sex organs and has nothing to deal with female sex organs.
Apana is active and then it stops, but not so during menstruation. You have 5 days where continuously the Apana is active, continuously needs to be facing downwards. In such a condition, if a woman enters a space like a temple which has been consecrated, it will cause all the Vayus in her body, including Apana, to turn upwards because that is the purpose, that is how temples affect your Sukshma Sharira. Many women have shared with me.
Menstruation is something that is so much stigmatized in India that women are not even allowed to touch things or let women enter their own houses during their periods. And I'm so glad that we have made a lot of progress in the past years, but there are still people who consider menstruation as a taboo. We need to understand that it's a normal body function and there is nothing to be ashamed or afraid of here. We should be normalizing this instead of making a big deal out of it. If you're ever put down just because you are on your periods, go and go with your bad self. I can't believe I just did that. I believe I just did that. Okay. That's it. That was it. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it and learned a thing or two. We need to understand that we don't need myths like these when there are actual truths from our ancient history to be proud of and to be celebrated. And always remember, it's important to honor our history with facts and not fiction.